Good afternoon, brothers. For those of you who are unfamiliar with me, my name is Ezekiel, also known online as Broho. I talk a lot about quitting porn. It's an area that I've had a lot of success in, that I've studied a lot, done a lot of research in that whole area of things. And by research, I don't just mean watching pornography, but actual research into, a lot of different facets of this. And I want to make a video specifically for the guys in December Discipline who might not have experience fighting this battle, or who might not have had success with it in the past. Hunter Drew said that during Men in March, the biggest point of failure for guys wasn't the push-ups, it wasn't the daily challenges, it was pornography. And that is alarming, and it sounds kind of silly, but it is understandable. I keep up with NoFap November, stuff like that every year, and I know how hard it is for people to get out of this. I know it's a very serious issue, and it really can keep a serious grip on your mind if you don't know how to fight it. So rather than just saying, hey, go watch my 150 videos about quitting pornography, that's stupid. I'm just gonna, as quick as I can here, get all the foundational stuff together, the most important stuff that I can possibly say, and just a quick crash course on quitting pornography for December Discipline. So first thing I want to say, as just the foundation for all this, you've got to treat this as if it is a war. And whether you actually believe that, that God and Satan exist, and that demons are literally trying to tempt you to do bad things or something like that, whether you believe that or not, you have to view this as a war in which you have a real, thinking, rational enemy who uses strategies against you. And there's a train behind me. It's gonna make a lot of noise right now, but whatever. Anyway, that was a shorter train than I thought it would be. But you have to treat this as a war. There he goes. You have to treat this as a war. You have to be able to identify the strategies that are being used against you, and you have to be able to figure out how to counter them. That means analyzing the battles that you fight. That means figuring out the progression of events. What went wrong? Where was your point of weakness? What was the one thing that led to another thing that led to another thing? Because chances are most of you guys aren't just gonna all at once be like, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't actually want to quit porn. I'm just gonna go watch porn instead. Usually it's something that leads up to that, okay? And so it's gonna be more complicated than just deciding, oh, I'm super serious about it this time. You gotta be able to identify the strategies that are working against you and see how you can anticipate them, how you can identify them, how you can counter them, all right? So, just for an example, and to give you an idea of how this works, for me and a lot of other guys, the killer is curiosity. In my particular situation, I was into 4chan and stuff like that for a long time. Still use it a little bit, but not that much. And on 4chan, there are some boards that are specifically dedicated to pornography. And of course, when I was watching pornography every day, I visited those boards a lot. They're image boards and they're just about pornography. Makes sense, right? So once I decided to quit pornography, I would still fail in that point. And the reason wasn't because I decided that I was just going to change my mind and watch porn. It was because I got curious. I started thinking, I wonder what they're talking about. I wonder what they're into right now. I wonder what certain things are, being discussed and shared there. And in my mind, I had myself convinced that, I was just going to see. I was just going to satisfy my curiosity, but I wasn't actually going to look at pornography or anything like that. All right? Obviously, that was a lie. One thing led to another, led to another, led to another, and I would end up full on watching pornography again. And for a while, I just tried to decide, okay, I'll just be more serious about it this time, or I'm just gonna get fired up, get motivated or whatever. And next time, hopefully things will be different. It wasn't until I started looking and saying, okay, what strategy is being used against me? Okay, curiosity. Curiosity is a strategy that is being used against me. I have to identify that. I have to be able to decide when I'm feeling curious about something, that curiosity itself is the enemy's strategy. Just like if you're in a battle, if you're in like a literal battle in a war, and you see the enemy troops moving around beside your forces, you're not thinking, oh, that's interesting that they're standing over there. Well, they're not hurting anybody just by standing over there, so I'm gonna let them do it. No, you're going to prevent them because you know what that is. You know that they are flanking you, and that even if they're not attacking you right now, they're getting ready to, and you're going to be in a really bad spot if you let them get there, okay? The same thing goes here. When you see those strategies that you've been familiar with now, that you've actually analyzed the battles, when you see those strategies starting to come into place, you've got to go nuts and stop them. And you almost have to overreact to stop it. And it might seem like an overreaction, it might feel like an overreaction. And just like somebody who's totally unfamiliar with war, if you know, you're somebody who's totally unfamiliar and you're in a castle, let's say, and there's somebody parking catapults by your castle, then you're going to go nuts trying to stop them. That other person not familiar, it might seem like an overreaction to them. They might be like, why are you going nuts? They're not doing anything. They're not actually, you know, shooting at you right now, so what are you worried about? You're worried because you know what's coming, because you know how the sequence of events plays out, all right? It's the same thing in this war, trying to quit pornography, all right? So you do really have to overreact. As soon as you see that first seed of temptation, as soon as you see, you know, that enemy soldier, you know, putting his first foot on the beach, you've got to go nuts trying to stop them, all right? You have to react to that as if that is actually pornography itself. In other words, react to the first seed of that temptation as if it is the full-grown tree. Using metaphors here. Hopefully it's getting through. But yeah, that's going to feel like an overreaction, and that's just the way that you have to fight this thing. All right? And one thing that I say is that no temptation is too small to warrant anything less than a full force response, and that is 100% true. What I mean is that the slightest seed has to be treated as anything that seed could possibly grow into, and you have to go in, guns blazing, full discipline on, and just draw the line right there and say, no, I'm not even taking that first step, because I know where the path leads, all right? Don't step out into the path to check it out, see what's out there or anything like that. Don't take the first few steps and think, okay, well, I'm just going to turn around and go back. No, just don't even go there. Don't even go there, all right? And that takes discipline. It does take discipline, because this is a very compelling kind of temptation. And in a lot of cases, your reasons for quitting, or, you know, motivational materials or whatever that you might be watching or listening to or reading, those might keep you going for a little while. But this is a powerful and dangerous temptation. You see, your sex drive is probably one of your strongest motivational forces in life, and one of the most compelling reasons for doing anything, all right? And chances are you're going to come to a point, most guys do reach this point, where the temptation is so strong that it feels like nothing else matters. And at that point, you'll notice that all your reasons, all your motivation for quitting, they kind of fade away. It seems like they don't matter anymore. And that's a tough situation to be in. And at that point, it really does come down to discipline. And you can do all the research you want. You can find all the reasons you want to quit. You can think of all the ways that it's going to harm you. You can think of how much you're going to regret it later. But it's not going to be enough, because that temptation is so powerful. And you have to realize that that's a strategy too. And that's one specific strategy that I'm going to, you know, let you know the key here too as well. All right? When you start to feel like that, when you feel like pornography matters more than anything else, when that sex drive becomes more powerful than anything else in your life, you have to realize that that is a strategy that's being used against you, and the solution to that is to flip that strategy back on itself, okay? When you get to this point, it's not going to be enough to remind yourself of your reasons or your motivations or anything like that, okay? You have to decide in that moment that this temptation that has made nothing else matter, itself doesn't matter, all right? That temptation has come and said, all your reasons, all your motivations to quit, I'm so much bigger than they are. You've got to be bigger than the temptation. You've got to be the bigger man there and say, yeah, I know my reasons and stuff, my motivations, they don't matter compared to you, but guess what? You don't matter either. All right? And you can't make that decision. And that does come down to sheer discipline. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be uncomfortable. And it's really going to suck. All right? Especially if you don't have another sexual outlet or something like that. You know, that's my situation right now. Okay? December discipline is going to be completely dry for me. All right? And you know what? I can handle it. All of you can handle it. It just takes discipline, commitment, And it's going to require you at some points to just throw your brain out the window, to say, yeah, my reasons and stuff don't matter, my motivations don't matter, even the accountability that I have at December of Discipline isn't going to hold up here. I just have to stubbornly refuse to submit to the temptation. I just have to decide, this does not matter, this will pass, I'm going to sit here, do nothing, and wait it out. All right, or go work out or whatever, you know, do something else, but you're not even going to give it the light of day. You're not going to give it any consideration. You're not going to weigh the pros and cons or anything. You're not going to weigh it against your reasons and motivations for quitting. Just leave the battlefield. This is one of those things that is kind of different from real war, and this really is a key thing to understand, this difference between this battle and an actual battle. You can win just by walking away, all right? In a lot of cases, you can win by the force and persuasiveness of your reasons. You can persuade yourself that, yes, I really would rather not watch porn right now. But that doesn't always hold up. Sometimes you are going to want porn more than anything else. All right? And in those situations, you have to be able to walk away. You have to be able to decide, this is a battle that I'm not going to fight. Okay? Because my reasons, my motivations, my weapons aren't going to win it. I'm just going to be disciplined and leave it. And that is a legitimate way to win this. Okay? So, that is the best I can give you right now. Like I said, I don't want to do a long video. 12 minutes is already a long video by some standards, but hopefully this helps you guys here, okay? So remember, this is a war. Remember that curiosity is a liar. Find out the stuff that's working on you. For some of you, it might be curiosity. For some of you, it might be something else. But learn to identify those strategies and figure out how to counter them, okay? Be disciplined. Have a zero tolerance approach to anything. Refuse to take that first step down that path that leads to watching pornography. Treat the smallest temptation as if it is the end goal of that temptation. Nothing is too small to warrant anything less than a full force response. All right? Be disciplined, of course. What else did I say? Just be stubborn about it. When temptation comes and decides that nothing else matters, decide that temptation doesn't matter and walk away from it. All right? And it's going to be tough, but once you get through that, once you win those really tough battles, the ones that seem impossible, the ones where nothing else matters in comparison, you are going to realize how strong you really are, how tough you really are, how much control you really do have over yourself, and how little power this temptation actually has over you. Porn can't rape you. That's another thing I say. The only way you're going to fail this is if you choose to comply with the enemy. Because as much as it is a battle, as much as it is a war, you are the one in control here. You are stronger than this, and it can only beat you by getting you to fight against yourself. All right? So, that's it. Y'all have a lovely day. I will see you in the Slack group. God bless you guys, and I might talk to you later. Who knows? If people like this video, then I will follow up with more. But other than that, I mostly just do the stuff on my own channel. That's it. Talk to you guys later.